without fear. There's no bravery. Now let's rock.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Heavy Bag Heroes. Really good card this weekend, honestly. From prelims to the co-main event. I don't say the main event because if you didn't watch, spoiler alert, Ciryl Gane about fingered Tom Aspinall's eyeballs out of his head. Pause. Probably shouldn't have said that. Anyways, yeah, super bad eye poke in the main event. Really unfortunate. Very disappointed. Heavily anticipated fight for this year. Didn't play out. But I will say the rest of the card, including the prelims, were incredible. And I'm going to go into depth, go into detail on those and talk about them. Got to watch the whole thing, which was great. But and then we'll talk a little bit about the fight night coming up because I think some people are sleeping on that main event. I think Steve Garcia and David Onama are going to go crazy. So we'll get into that here in a bit. First of all, another ad read. Here we go, baby. Before we jump into the episode, shameless plug for the heavybaghero.com website. That was a weird way to say that. That's where you'll find all kinds of fight-inspired apparel made for training, relaxing, and everything in between. Currently, we are running a 15% off for a limited time on the hooded long sleeves, script logo, and the HBH logo designs. They're freaking awesome. I wore them in a couple episodes ago, or I wore the script logo one a couple episodes ago if you want to see it. I truly love them. They are so unbelievably comfortable. They're great for this weather right now, the 50 degrees. It's finally starting to cool down here in Texas. They're super awesome, really comfortable, super soft. They fit great too. I always do everything one up size, so I get a double XL because the XLs were a little tight on my arms. I don't know if that's just from all the working out I'm doing or if that's just how they fit, so be mindful of that. But head over to heavybaghero.com, grab yours while they're still discounted, and sign up for the newsletter and stay in the loop on future drops and all things Heavy Bag Heroes. I actually just got some new test prints in today for a new collection that I want to do that I'm really excited about. I've been working on it for a while, and but we're going to wait a little bit. The print came out pretty good. Need to make some adjustments on it, but pretty excited. And these are going to come out soon. I had to actually just adjust the logo placement because it was almost like center chest on these, but I think it actually turned out pretty good here. But it's the No Easy Rounds. This is the white version of the No Easy Rounds design, and I love it. And these shirts, the shirts I got them for, or the shirts that they're being printed on, are incredible. They are super comfortable. They wash great. They feel good. I even work out in them just because I like an oversized shirt whenever I work out. I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, back to this weekend. Super great weekend for UFC. Like I said, I got to watch it top to bottom. Super pumped that I'm going to start at the bottom from where I actually started. I didn't watch these first two fights. I kind of came in a little late, but I did get to see Hamdi Abdelwahab versus Chris Barnett. That was a tough fight. We all love Chris Barnett, but he just got the brakes beat off of him. 170 total strikes to 28, 99 significant to 18. Control time 10:48 in a 3-round fight. That's 2 full rounds in 48 seconds that he was holding him on the ground. So it was a tough watch. Chris Barnett, last time out, he pulled his hamstring coming out, so he got beat. That was hard to watch. So hoping he was going to have some success, and he did not. But fun watch. Hamdi is the first and only Egyptian fighter in the UFC right now, so I thought that was pretty cool. But he wasn't. I mean, I don't want to say it's Chris Barnett. Hamdi was not super impressive. I feel like he could have put Chris Barnett away pretty quickly, pretty easily. Forgive me, my nose is going crazy right now. But it was a decent fight to watch, I guess. As you can tell, it's two full rounds of being on the ground. But Hamdi, I thought several times he was going to get the opportunity to put it away, and he did not. So, but Chris Barnett, sorry, dude, love you, bro. Now this next fight, Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Miguel Delgado. This was an insane fight. It started so unbelievably hot. Nathaniel Wood ended up getting the win, unanimous decision, which I thought was pretty crazy. Delgado was 10-1 coming into the fight. Nathaniel Wood came in, and they were saying, announcers were talking about how he really wanted to get a finish. He didn't want any more decisions. And he almost got knocked out in the first round. It was kind of insane. 101 total strikes to 141. That's Delgado had 141. I'm reading them from Nathaniel Wood to Delgado. 99 significant strikes to 134. He got outstruck like crazy. Nathaniel Wood did. Only had 58 seconds of control time to Delgado's 128. I really don't know how Nathaniel Wood won this fight. I don't remember. He did not look like he did a ton of damage to Delgado. Delgado beat the crap out of Wood in the first round. I was cheering for Wood. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen him fight before. Seems like a great guy. But honestly, he made a fan out of me just from being a dog. He just stayed in, like, he literally almost got knocked out in that first round. Almost got knocked out in the first round. There were several moments I thought the ref was going to stop the fight, and he didn't. He kept getting up. He kept going after him. And hats off to Nathaniel Wood for getting after it and getting the win. Delgado also made me a fan because he just looked amazing. Like, he just looked really good. I'm very surprised he didn't get the win here. I'd have to go back and watch it again. I kind of thought it was a robbery, but I was also very impressed with Nathaniel Wood's comeback. It was really cool to see. Considering how badly he got beat up in the first round, in the beginning of the first round, almost taken completely out. And I don't think Delgado had, like, gone more than a round and a half before coming into this fight. So that ended up being a phenomenal fight. Unanimous decision. Then we had Walter Walker, the heel hook legend. Very quick fight. Let's see how long it took. Does it say? Yeah, submission round 1, minute 24 in. He got to the heel, man, he took it, and that's his 5th. I think it's his, I could be wrong, 7th heel hook? 5th heel hook? Something like that, in a row. Not just like in the UFC, in a row. He walked on stage with a heel around his neck. Crazy. Dude's just snapping ankles. Looked really good. I mean, getting there. Like, he got there very easily. Took it. That's got to be insanely frustrating as a fighter to just get caught that quickly. But, like, when you're in the heavyweight division, I talked about this last week. If you are a grappler in the heavyweight division, you have such an advantage. Unless you're Jailton Almeida. We'll get to that in a moment. They're just like a lot of the other heavyweights do not have good grappling. Like, Ciryl Gane doesn't. Tom Aspinall is probably one of the only other ones. I wouldn't even say Jailton Almeida has good grappling. He just has good wrestling. He'll just take you down and just hold you there. So if you will find a lot of success if you can be a good grappler in the heavyweight division. So that ended up being a very quick, very cool fight. And then fight of the night. This was the most insane fight. One of the most insane fights I've ever seen. I wrote down how to say their names. Let me go check. I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. Let me share my screen for a moment. Pardon me. Okay. Leodivit Klein versus Mateusz Renbetsky. Klein versus Renbetsky. That's how we're going to say it from here on out. This was genuinely... Am I not sharing my screen? What's going on here? Sorry, everybody. Oh, maybe I was. ESPN. There we go. All right, we're good, everybody. This was genuinely one of the most insane fights I've seen. Lightweight guys, good Lord. It doesn't matter where they're at in the rankings. They just beat the crap out of each other. Klein ended up getting the victory, but he, like, broke his ankle in the third round, like, halfway through the third round, and Rebetsky just went after him. Almost got the TKO, was on top, just raining down elbows. Probably could have been a 10-8 round from how dominant he was, but obviously Klein had broken his ankle, so he really couldn't get up and do anything. He was just playing a lot of defense at that point. But the first 2 rounds, Klein was just absolutely having his way. Several wobbles he got on Rebetsky. He was connecting like crazy, going from Klein to Rebetsky here on strikes. 90 to 113 significant strikes, 82 to 72. Control time, Rebetsky had 5 minutes, and I think it all accumulated in the third round, end of the third round. So, and then just like maybe a minute or two in the second round. But Rebetsky almost got put away a couple of times. He got wobbly legs, but he kept coming back. I mean, it was just an absolutely insane fight. I don't know if we can watch some of the highlights. I don't want to get copywritten or anything like that. But it was just an absolutely wild fight. Like I said, Klein just found the mark, was beating up Rebetsky. Rebetsky was trying to come back. He got wobbled several times. But ended up being a really good fight. I had to like walk away for a minute. When I came back, I saw that Klein was on the ground, and I was like, "What in the world is happening?" And then he didn't get up off the ground. He didn't get off the ground after the fight ended. And then they came and brought him a stool, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I broke my ankle." Crazy, crazy, crazy fight of the night. Absolutely awesome. Ikram Askilorov versus Jung Young Park. That ended up being a really interesting fight. It wasn't like as high level as I thought it would be. Ikram did not look as high level as he usually does. Like, he kind of looked like he was fighting in his, like, at a lower level. I've never seen Park before. He was trying, but I mean, Ikram just, as the Russians do, they resort to wrestling. They take all the wind out of your sails, all your hopes for a finish they just start wrestling you. Going from Ikram to Park here, 126 total strikes to 91, 91 significant strikes to 78, control time 6 minutes to 19 seconds. So, pretty uneventful fight. Good for Ikram coming back after getting flatlined by, was that Bobby Knuckles? So, he fought a pretty good fight. He got gassed out at the end there. He did get gassed out. So, good for him. Ended up being a pretty decent fight. And then, good Lord, the featured prelim, Nasserat, I don't know how to say his last name. I'm gonna butcher it. And then Quillen Salkild. Oh my gosh. Salkild is on the radar now. So, I did not realize it, but Salkild has been destroying guys in the division. He came in 10 days notice. And flatlined Nasserat with a head kick. It was insane. I've got a clip I'll show later in our social media segment. Hopefully I can find it. Someone was doing a breakdown of this and just how Salkild set up this head kick, because he kept throwing teep kicks to the body, and Nasserat would put one hand up to block his head and then try and parry the teep kick. And Salkild just kept doing that, keeping the distance, keeping the kicking distance, and then he went to throw that kick, and he had just conditioned Nasserat to throw that parry, get his arm down and barely put his hand up, and he just got him shin to the temple, and he just folded up. It was actually kind of scary. He was down for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, maybe longer, maybe 5 minutes, before he finally got up. Pretty scary moment, but it was an insane knockout. Very good knockout. I'm really excited to watch Salkild. These young Australian guys, like Jack Jenkins. Oh, I just love them. They're beasts. They're all beasts. Really fun to watch them. Jack Jenkins, I freaking love Jack Jenkins. I'm a huge fan of his. Hopefully he's fought. I think he just fought recently, actually. I can't even remember what happened on that fight. I'll have to go back and look. But Quillen Salkild, you're on the radar, son. Moving into the main event. As predicted, Azamat got the knockoff on Ratchik. Felt super bad. They were this. I'd say I felt super bad. They were gassing up Ratchik. They were like, he previously went to a different camp. That camp wasn't good for him, and then we saw what happened with Yuri. Even though he's fighting a really good fight with Yuri, he switched camps. He came back super confident. Just loves MMA. They're talking about how much he loves it. It's saved his life, the whole thing, and has dedicated his life to it. And as you can see, I believe you can see this on the screen, total strikes 13, Ratchik versus 4 for Azamat, and he won by KO. So, and it was a stiff jab. He threw a stiff jab, sat down Ratchik, and then started with the ground and pound, and the ref called it off because Ratchik just covered up. He was like, I don't want any of that. So Azamat keeps his perfect record, 16-0 now. Ratchik falls to 14-6. Kind of feel bad for him. He was kind of coming his way up before he got KO'd by Yuri. He was doing a good job, but we'll see where he goes from here. After that, we had Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. I have a lot to say about this fight. This might be the first time in UFC history, and in my tenure of watching, that someone who had 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes of ground control to his opponent's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and still lost the fight. Jailton Almeida had 10 minutes and 47 seconds with 7 takedowns and lost the fight. But when you go to the striking, it tells a different story. Alexander Volkov, 123. Jailton, 27. Significant strikes, 24-9. Here's the real. What does it say? Tail of the tape. I think that's what they say. Tail of the tape. 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes of control time, 0 submission attempts. This is the, pardon my language, bullshit that I'm talking about with the Dagestanis and these wrestler types. And little did I know that, like, I'm dogging on Umar, I'm dogging on Habib and Islam Makhachev and all these other Dagestani wrestler types. I'm sorry. I owe y'all an apology. This guy right here, Jailton Almeida, he's the bad guy. This guy's really stalling. Like, he legitimately would take down Volkov and do nothing with it. He would not strike. He would not go for submission attempts. He just laid on top of him and just tried to keep control. That's all he did. It was horrible to watch. Horrible to watch. And I think everyone was so surprised when Volkov got the win. And I'm so glad he did, because he actually tried to put in damage. He had 123 total strikes. 24 of them were significant. He got one of the takedowns, reversed some positions, did the best he could. But it was just one of those fights where it's like, they're going to give it to Jailton because he was on top the whole time. But the refs got it right. 29-28. 29-28 Volkov, 28-29 Jailton, 29-28 Volkov. So, praise the Lord. Maybe the tide will turn, and maybe this style of wrestling will be over with. If you're Jailton, you got to go back to the drawing board and figure something else out. You either got to add submission attempts to your game, which he does do a good job with the rear naked choke, but that is literally all he has. He is no threat anywhere else. I would love to wrestle with him because I'd be like, he's not going to do anything, you know? But he's got to do something else. He's got to learn the ground and pound. He's got to add some more submission attempts. Like, you just cannot do this crap. And I'm just so glad. I'm so glad that the refs, or I say the judges were like, we're not giving him this bull crap. Good for Volkov. He deserved that after he got absolutely screwed in his fight versus Gane, which was his last fight. Because he would be fighting for the belt right now. So it's kind of some poetic justice in a way. So, Jailton, you're on the shit list, buddy. All right, moving on. Probably the best fight. Let me see. Yeah, probably the best fight on the main card. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. Bautista, I apologize. I was not familiar with your game. He fought an amazing fight. I thought he fought a really good fight. But Umar, again, I owe these guys an apology. Umar is a freak. He genuinely is a mixed martial arts genius. His grappling is out of control. Every move is incredibly intentional. And what I mean by that is just like I don't want to say there's no wasted movement necessarily. Every movement is just, it has a purpose. It's not just scrambling. Like, he knows where he's trying to get. He knows what he's trying to do. But not only that, his striking is, it is nuts. Like, he throws, I guess it would be called the question mark kick, and he throws it from his front leg. He throws it so unbelievably fast. He does such a good job with it. He's great with kicks. He's great with his hands. The only time in the fight that it got kind of dangerous is he went to shoot, or Mario was advancing in, and I guess Umar thought, time to go for a takedown, and Mario threw a knee. I think he was going to try and throw a body kick and turn it into a knee, and he folded up Umar. He hit the ground. And he got back up really quick. I could not believe how fast he got back up. And Mario didn't kind of jump on it, which was probably smart in the end. But, man, Umar, genuinely, he is amazing. Like, I kind of want to see the rematch with Merab. Because if they were both hurt like they said they were, and they fought that high level of a fight, like, this could be really good. I think the asterisk with the Merab fight is Umar broke his hand or something like that, and something was wrong with Merab in that fight as well. But if they're both fully healthy, that is a nuts fight. That is a nutso fight. But if not, you do Umar versus Petr Yan. If Petr Yan wins versus Merab in December, that's a pretty nuts fight to make. It's the really interesting part about Petr Yan is that his fighting style is so much different than Umar, Islam, all the other kind of Russian style fighters. The dude is literally like an assassin. Like the way he moves, his spinning stuff, his trips, his takedowns, is phenomenal. Even though he struggled hard versus Merab, I don't know what happened there. I don't know why he got taken down so many times, and it was just weird. It's a weird fight. I don't think he's ever talked about it, but just going through the statistics real quick. Pre-fight odds were minus 700 to plus 450, which he ended up being unanimous decision. Umar won every round, 10-9. 81 total strikes to 33. Batista, 32 to 20, and then 11 takedowns for Umar. Batista tried one, didn't get it. He did have one submission attempt in the first round. He got a toe hold on Umar, and I thought, oh, he's got to break it. Like, there's no with the Islams and the Habibs, like, and the Umars, you cannot like expect them to tap under pain. You have to break it. That is the only way you're going to get those guys out of there. And it makes me wonder if he was hesitant to do that just because he was like, hey, out of respect for the sport or whatever, I'm going to give you a chance to tap. But those guys are like Umar and Habib. They're the kind of guys that they're like, I know, like they take advantage of that. I know you're not going to break my ankle, so I'm just going to keep scrambling until I get out of this. So you just got to go a little crazy with those guys, and you got to snap that. You got to snap that leg. So Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista ended up being a phenomenal fight. Really good fight. Probably best fight on the card. And then we get up to the second best fight on the card, in my opinion. Verana versus Mackenzie Dern ended up being a phenomenal fight. And Mackenzie Dern, I owe you an apology. That was an amazing performance. Genuinely. Other than getting taken down as many times as you did, I know that you're very comfortable on your back. And you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu beast. A Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu goddess. She really did. Like, striking-wise, I thought she fought an incredible fight. They both fought a really good fight. I just think Mackenzie just ended up coming out on top. I mean, it's pretty crazy. 5 rounds, 47-48, 47-48, and 46-49. Unanimous decision, Mackenzie Dern. Congrats to her finally getting the belt. I think she earns it. I need to go look at that division to see who she's going to fight next. But ended up being Verana. She had 208 total strikes versus 249. Significant strikes, 106 to 118. Control time, she had 907 to 345. And takedowns 9 to 2. So ended up being a really good fight. I was crapping on it. I was going to go take a nap during it. And they kept me locked in from start to finish. So Mackenzie Dern, just like this is what's confusing about Mackenzie Dern for me, is when she fought, I think, Jessica Andrade, she looked like she had never thrown a punch in her life. It was the strangest performance I feel like I've ever seen. Like, if I could go back, she was doing like the hands extended out. Like, it's like she almost didn't train striking her whole camp, or hadn't trained striking in a very long time. Like, she just did not like getting, it was so weird and so awkward. And this time she looked sharp. Like, she looked so unbelievably sharp. She was locked in. Her head movement was great. She had a stiff jab. She was getting there with whatever she wanted to. So it was a really good performance. Congratulations, Mackenzie Dern. She is now the strawweight champion of the world. Beast. Never lost with her daughter in the building, and her daughter was there. So good for her. And then we get on to the main events, where all the opinions will lie. Tom Aspinall, Ciryl Gane, ended 4 minutes and 35 seconds into the fight. No contest. Ciryl Gane double eye poked. I think I've got it saved in the social media segment. Double eye poked Tom Aspinall. Literally got knuckle deep on in one of the fights, or in one of the eyes, which was horrible. Hopefully this is okay. Everything's still recording. I'm getting a little glitchy. Anyways. Just going through the striking for the one round, it was 27-30. All of them were significant strikes for both of them. Gane with 30, Tom Aspinall with 27. No takedown attempts. I don't know. I mean, I think we all expected Tom Aspinall to have trouble with Gane, because Gane is a phenomenal striker and really good with angles. That's kind of his whole gimmick. That's why I think he beats he beats up all these heavyweights, is he's just phenomenal. Like, guys are just so used to standing in front of each other, and he peels off to the left, he peels off to the right. He's hard to deal with, and Tom was starting to pick up on that, throwing more left hooks, like trying to get him from circling off to his left. He did like a spinning heel kick, which landed in Gane's side pretty good. But I don't know, man. Like, I think it was matching up to be a good fight, but I do think Tom would have resorted to the takedowns once he kind of figured out how to get Gane up against the fence. But he just couldn't. Like, if you go back and watch it, there were no real opportunities for Tom to take Gane down, which is obviously intentional by Gane. He just couldn't get him pinned up against the fence. He couldn't get engaged in the clinch. There's just a lot of danger if he essentially runs after him, which is what he would have had to do to go after the takedown. Like, he couldn't cut the cage off fast enough, and I think that's just because Tom was just moving so straightforward with all his striking, and Gane would just be looping out, and he would just be able to get so much ground off of him before Tom would circle back around and get him. So, man, people online are like, Tom wanted a way out of this fight. Tom wanted to get out of this fight. He was losing it. That is just horse hockey. We did not get enough information to know how that fight was going to go. I mean, they obviously would have warmed up to each other at some point, and gotten things figured out. But going based off of that first round, 30 strikes, like, he was not Tom was bloodied up. I think he was getting popped in the nose a lot, which your nose will bleed very easily getting popped in the nose. Like, the one time I sparred with my brother like a year ago, he popped me in the nose one time, immediately started gushing blood. And I think it's oh man, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. One of the featherweights or bantamweights. Frankie Edgar. His nose bleeds every time he fights. Like, it's like a known thing. Like, the announcers talk about it every time he fought. He's like, even when he's in practice, when he's in sparring, if his nose gets touched, he just starts bleeding. And that just may be the case for Tom. We've never seen him get punched in the face before. He said his total fight time is like 200 seconds. It's not a long time. Or 2 minutes and 20 seconds is his average fight time. There's not enough time for him to get punched in the face. But anyways, I'm sad and I'm disappointed because I think it was lining up to be an insane heavyweight fight. I thought it was going to be just really good. I think they were going to figure each other out. They were going to find what works in that first round. In the second round, I thought they were going to come out hot. And we didn't see Tom get any chances at a takedown, and maybe he would have came out of the corner into the second round, thinking about cutting the cage off a little more and backing Gane up so he could get a takedown. We just didn't get enough information. But getting back to the eye poke, everyone talked about, Tom was looking for a way out of this fight because he was losing. I just don't agree with that. The only real comparable, like, there are plenty of fights where someone has been eye poked really bad and they kept fighting, right? The only real comparable one to me is Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 3 when they fought in the Apex for the third time. For the title fight, and DC got poked bad like in the third round and could barely see out of his left eye. Now that I'm like, but they had fought several rounds. You kind of knew, I don't want to say you kind of knew how the fight was going, but they had fought several rounds. There were several rounds into the fight, and to me, if I'm Dana White and Hunter Campbell, I'm immediately rebooking this fight. I'm knocking out one of the main events from the pay-per-views down in December, and I'm immediately rebooking this so they don't have a chance to essentially have another full camp. You try and get this rebooked as fast as you can, because here's what's happened. Here's what would happen. If Tom Aspinall went on with a compromised eye, like, let's say he couldn't see out of that eye, or it was extremely fuzzy, whatever. He couldn't see out of the eye. There would be an asterisk next to this fight, and they would immediately book a rematch. Now, then we'd have to wait for it 6 months to a year down the road, where now it's like he called it off early. He was like, I can't see. They may do an immediate rematch before the end is over, or the end of the year. Let me try that one more time. They may do an immediate rematch before the end of the year, which is what should happen. There's no reason that it couldn't happen. They both had their camps. Why not, for the spectacle, book this in the next couple of weeks? I mean, let's go look at the upcoming fights. I don't know where they are. Let's see. We'll just go to UFC and see what they could take over. So you got Garcia versus Onama. No. You got to leave 322 main event alone. Like, honestly, UFC 323. Make Davishvili and Jan the co-main. Bring in Tom and Ciryl Gane for the main event. That's perfect. That's a perfect card to do it. Oh my gosh, a triple header championship? That'd be incredible. Now I'm thinking they probably wouldn't. I didn't realize that Pantoja and Joshua Van were on this too. Look, there's two fight, like, bump Henry Cejudo down to the prelim main feature, Muhammad and Marion Santos, like, bump them down. Keep Brandon Moreno, keep Jan, keep Pantoja, keep Davishvili fight, and add Tom on the top of that. Like, the spectacle it would go crazy on Twitter if they were like, here's the new main event for UFC 323. So they don't even have January stuff yet. So I don't know. It may happen. They may be like, hey, now we have a main event for the first Paramount card. So that's easy. But yeah, it was disappointing, to say the least, you know, because it was just like, this was a seriously anticipated fight. I'm going to get off my screen sharing real quick. Stop. There we go. It was just such an anticipated fight. You know, DC always talks about, like, these are the baddest men on the planet. These heavyweight guys. Like, they're literally the scariest guys on the planet. So everyone wants to watch. Everyone wants to see how these boys are going to bang. And pause. And it's just unfortunate that it unfolded that way. But Gane has a history of this. Like, let's be honest. Ciryl Gane has a history of, I don't want to say cheating, because I feel like that's just such a strong allegation. But when he fought Sergey, kneed him and punched him in the hoo-ha several times right before the finish, and he just kept going. And so the ref was like, I can't step in. He's still going after him, which he should have stepped in and broken it up and given Sergey a moment. But then even the Tai Tuivasa fight, like, yeah, he was getting the knockout, but on the way down, I mean, back of the head, whoa, bang! He smacked Tuivasa on the back of the head, which is just like, there's a highlight reel of it. I'll have to go find it. But there's a literal highlight reel of Gane more or less cheating. Let me see if I can find it. Let's go. Here, I'll just go ahead and bring y'all with me. Screen share. Screen. Oh, where are we at? Screen. We're going to go to Instagram. Boom. All right. New reel out, by the way. Oh, jeez. Scared myself. All right. Where were we at? Your activity likes. Yeah, let me just show y'all this. The art of Ciryl Gane, baby. I'm turning off that bullcrap music. That was terrible. Basically, if you're not watching and you're listening, it's just showing. It says in some back of the head hammer fist to finish it off. Elbows to the back of the head. Yep. I forgot who that was. Double eye poke on Tom Aspinall. When he opened the John Jones fight, the first clip is opening the fight versus John Jones, nut shot. Literally punching and kneeing his sack is the caption. They're showing clips of Gane doing that and getting the finish on Sergey. Then just hammer fist to the back of the head. A big elbow to the back of, I don't know who he was fighting there, but yeah, that was tough. That was tough. But we'll go ahead and get into our social media segment of the evening, because I got some good stuff for you. First of all, let's watch this. Let's hear this Dana White Contender Series elbow. Now, if you are listening, that loud baseball bat to a pole sound was a spinning elbow to another man's skull. Let's hear that one more time. I'm sure that is a broken orbital bone. That has to be. And then we got UFC 322 main card has been officially set. Unfortunately, Bo Nichols scooted on to the main card. You got Leon Edwards and Carlos Praetis leading the card off. Bo Nickel versus some guy I've never heard of. Classic. Sean Brady versus Michael Morales is going to be a phenomenal fight. Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili. Super excited about that fight. And then Jack Della versus Islam Makhachev for UFC 322. Absolutely pumped for this card. Going to be a banger. Madison Square Garden, as it normally is. Here's what Jim Miller had to say about the fight. Quote, I've had 43 UFC fights and never landed an eye poke. The problem is not the gloves. It's the little B word inside trying to get a one-up. I might agree with that. I think I agree with that. But I think so many fighters are so used to having their hands out as a way to parry the jab, parry whatever. And it just becomes it's a bad habit, and coaches need to stop that habit. Alexander Volkov outstruck Jailton Almeida 123-27, and then we got Sal Kidd's head kick and a beautiful call by John Anik. John Anik just has the most insane call-outs at the perfect time. His parents put him in training because he was overweight. Talking about Sal Kidd, I think. But they owned a bakery, and then the head kick immediately follows him saying that. So good. And then, if you hadn't seen... Our boy Conor McGregor has seen the light. All right, that's enough of that, Conor McGregor. Well, if this is real and he's not just trying to get the religious demographic of the world and his fan base, so he just covers the entire planet, good for him. Good for him. It's very interesting. Very interesting that they came out. So, let's get to our good stuff. Our social media segment, I call this Oof. Actually, I forgot what I called it. I had a whole save section for this. Oh, goofy, yeah. Oh, man. Saw this one today. This is just glorious. The caption is, you're a boxer trying to flirt, and this guy who is possibly a boxer is shadow boxing in front of a hostess of a restaurant, and she is giving him some very awkward laughs. She's like, ah. And he really thinks he's getting after it. He really thinks he's getting after it. It's good stuff. And then, I don't know who this chick is. She's great. I love that she does these boxing and scrapping and stuff. It is just genuinely so awesome seeing stuff like this. I don't think men realize that they can't punch until they throw a punch, maybe. That's good stuff. This video just kills me. I don't know why it's so fun. I can't show it. It's got some bad language in it. But... Oh, I'm working on social media segments, having some more social media segments. I think it's a good way to end the podcast with some good laughs. There's just some really good stuff. I'll show this one. This guy posted, he's just a pretty boy, and he's giving a nice bow to the camera. Jumps up off of his bag. Super cool. Into a fighting stance. Superman punch. Spinning heel kick to the bag in the Crunch Fitness. He's in a Crunch Fitness, ladies and gentlemen. Spinning heel kick. Spinning front kick. Jab, cross, elbow. Jab, cross. He's just a pretty boy. Read caption. All right, let's read the caption here. You can't truly call yourself peaceful unless you are capable of great violence. If you're not capable of violence, you're not peaceful. You're harmless. It's good stuff. In my study of martial arts, I've learned to hone my skills of violence to defend myself and the people that cannot. I praise God for giving me these gifts, the discipline and restraint. My bullies were the ones that swore to protect me. That doesn't make any sense. I have been punched, kicked, slapped, thrown, spit on, suffocated, choked, waterboarded, shot at, sexually assaulted, called every slur, abandoned, yet I stand before you stronger than ever, unbroken still, having compassion and love for my fellow man and woman. I have had every reason to become a monster, but I know that was never the path for me. For my heart pure and true, for I am the soldier of the divine. And then someone immediately responds with a LeBron acting scared gif. Instagram is a dangerous place to be, man. I need to go through some of my comments. They're brutal. And then, oh yes, one of my favorite gifs is the dog with the Daredevil mask on. That's a good one. Good stuff. Good stuff, man. Yeah. So, thanks for tuning in. Again, go check out heavybaghero.com. 15% off the hooded long sleeve script and HBH logo. They're super awesome. Really comfortable. Great fall weather attire. I wear them while I golf. I wear them to work. It's good stuff. I'm a terrible golfer. But thanks for tuning in. I might do a little short segment for the UFC fight night this weekend. All I know is that Steve Garcia and David Onama are absolute dogs, and this is going to be a bloodbath. I really don't know anyone else on the card. I was going to do some research into that. But Steve Garcia is a scary dude. I don't think he's to be trifled with. And David Onama, same thing. They're both on good win streaks. I think 5 for Onama and 6 for Steve Garcia. Garcia's beat some pretty notable names. Nama, his was Gamrot. No, not Gamrot. Sorry, Giga, Chickadees nuts. How about that? All right, see you later.